Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Some of you may have noticed that we are using a different platform today. We generally always use GoToMeeting, but we are trying out something called Zoom because we're hoping it's going to have some cooler features we can use when doing webinars with everybody. So hopefully everyone has figured out how to get on, and hopefully you can hear me as well. As always, I'll wait just a few minutes to see who else is going to join us, and then we'll get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. Today, our webinar is called How to Build a Successful Team. Now, you guys, generally the webinars that I do are focused a lot on just pieces and shortcuts, but today we wanted to kind of give you our view of how, again, you can build a successful team. And there are a few bits here where we recommend a few reports and things that you can do with shortcuts as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So as always, just a little bit of housekeeping. The duration of the webinar today is about 30 minutes, you guys. So 20 minutes for the webinar and then 10 minutes for Q&A if anyone has questions. My microphone is on. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Your speakers must be turned on to hear the webinar, you guys. So the webinar has started. I hope you've got your speakers on. And questions will be taken, as I said, at the end of the webinar, but feel free to use the chat during the webinar as well. I may ask you to hold your question till the end, but it may be relevant to what we're talking about, and we might want to answer it right there. Okay, so an overview of our webinar today. We're going to talk about building positive, strong working relationships with your team, training strategies, setting achievable targets, how to track and maximize team achievements, as well as implement policies and procedures. Okay, so build positive, strong working relationships. So you want to ask yourselves these questions about your staff and your employees. So are your staff motivated and eager to help around the business? And you guys, as we go through this today, I know that you guys will think about some team members that are and some that aren't, but really what we want you to think about is if they aren't, how can we fix it? Do they love coming up with fresh creative ideas for your clients? Do they get along with their fellow stylists or barbers in the business? Okay, and again, if not, what can we do to fix it? Building a successful team. So we added this little quote because we think it's relevant. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. So how do we work together successfully in our salons and barbershops? First, setting clear expectations for our staff. So have a company vision and a mission statement for your business, right? So who are we and what do we do? Team culture. So build your tribe and vibe. You really have a responsibility to your staff and your team to bring that culture to the salon or the barbershop. Communication, so team meetings, one-on-one, and feedback. So it's important to bring the team together so that they have a space to discuss and talk about things that are going on. and also for you to be able to, again, discuss the company vision, the mission statement, and keep everybody on board. Achievements. So it's important to celebrate wins, whether they're big or small, and also at relevant times and in the moment when they happen. Power. So acknowledging individual strengths, giving ownership and roles. And then team spirit. So support, encourage, and reward your team when you can and when necessary. Any questions about that? All right. So we also wanted to talk about training strategies. So a lot of you probably are thinking, yeah, of course we have ongoing training. So one of the things we're talking about is having ongoing training programs for your staff to ensure that they're always learning and motivated with focus on the future. But we're not just talking about their technical skills. Of course, that is important, right? It is important for them to build and expand on their trade, take new classes, learn new techniques. But it's also important for us to help them develop skills in other places, right? So soft skills or personal development, so customer service, communication, and managing people. It is not impossible for you guys to have classes on things like this, as well as classes on hair techniques. Okay. And then business skills, so professional skills, managing money and results, setting expectation, measure results, and coach. And obviously, Shortcuts is a tool that can help you guys do that, right? Shortcuts has lots of tools that can help them understand, and reports that can help them understand how to be successful in these areas. Any questions about the training strategies? Again, I know you all are probably doing something along the lines of the technical skills and getting them training on their trade, but we wanted to point out some of the other things as well. So how is your team performing? So we just talked about technical skills, soft skills, business skills. So how do we give a skill assessment? How do we measure customer feedback? How do we do staff competency reviews? And how do we review with them measurable results? Okay, so with the skill assessment, set a standard, right? Give them a goal to work towards. Okay, outline clear requirements to pass, or develop a fresh learning plan for them. Keep records of their achievements. And obviously, again, Shortcuts is a tool that will allow you to do that, right? You can run a performance summary for, right now, and you can also run one for a past period so you can compare with the employees. And then it's important to review with them, as I just said, and then reassess as they go. So it's not just a one-time thing. It's something you need to do with them regularly. Okay, so that's skill assessment. Customer feedback. So hopefully a lot of you are taking advantage of our ratings and reviews feature, or Spotlight. Basically, the Spotlight tool will automatically send a rating and review email to your customer after they leave the store to get feedback on their visit. Okay, and if we don't have ratings and reviews, ask questions, right? Reach out to the customer via email or even via phone and ask about their visit, right? It's important for your staff to understand how they're performing in their client's eyes, as well as how they're performing for you. Okay. Staff performance. So we talked a little bit about having staff reviews, but it is important to have formal and informal one-on-ones with your staff. So you should have, a review period schedule for each of your staff members, but you should also hopefully be meeting with them in between just briefly to see how they're doing and everything like that, right? Hold weekly team meetings and always communicate with your team. Some of you are probably going weekly, like I have time to do that. I understand a lot of you are behind the chair, but this doesn't have to be an hour-long meeting, right? It can be, every Wednesday morning for 15 minutes, everybody gets together just to chat about what's gone on the last week, right? The good, bad, and the ugly. What went well, what went not so well, and what can we maybe change? Okay, use shortcuts reporting to track your team and individual results. So we'll talk about a few reports in just a couple of minutes on, some reports that we recommend you use. But again, you guys know that Shortcuts has quite a few reports that you can use to track the results of the salon and your staff. It's also important to build paths to success and give promotion opportunities. Now, I understand that sometimes we have hourly employees and sometimes we have commission employees. But again, you guys, it's important that they have a path to step up, a path to succeed, a path to a promotion, right? Be clear and consistent. No one wants to be let down or unsure where they stand, especially when it comes to their employment. So again, this goes back to have a clear mission statement, set, clear policies with your staff so that they understand whether or not they're meeting the goals. Okay, and ask your team to discuss and share ideas. So again, this comes back to that weekly meeting. And again, it only has to be 15 minutes or whatever you guys have time for, but give them a space to discuss and talk about how they feel and what they think and what's going on. Any questions about the staff performance there? All right. So here are some shortcuts reports that we just wanted to highlight that stand out for being able to measure some of the things we've talked about so far. The value of future appointments. This is a great report to understand the upcoming week, month, quarter, about how booked the salon is or the barber shop, and individually which stylist and or barbers contribute to that. Okay, this is also a great way to tell them, like, hey, next week you literally have 2 appointments. You maybe want to get out and pass out some cards, hand out some referral cards, do whatever you need to do to get some people in the chair. Okay, the performance summary, as I mentioned, as well as the performance summary extended. This is a great report. It has information about sales, service, and retail, as well as it will tell you a count on the different services that they've done as well. So if you're trying to encourage and push them to sell more in a certain area, this is a great report that will help you measure that. The Book Me Statistics report, so it'll let us see, how many of their clients are booking online versus booking through the point of sale. The client retention report, which is the one we're showing over here, which is obviously very important, right? Giving us the total clients that they saw within the period that we're measuring. If they came back to the same employee, if they came back to a different employee, and whether or not that client was lost. Okay, the employee ranking report. So this will show you your top 10 employees in 9 different categories: service revenue, retail revenue, revenue together, so on and so forth. This is a really great report to understand, the employees that maybe excel in one area but not in others, and then the ones that actually excel all over. Okay, services and products by employee. Again, this is a great way to see where the bulk of their revenue is coming in from, okay, and whether or not there's room for them to maybe potentially sell some other items. The rebooking breakdown report, of course, right? So this report will help us understand their percentage of rebooking. So which clients are they actually rebooking for next time? For those of you that are walk-in, obviously that's not as relevant for you. But then you might want to look at the frequency of visit report instead of the rebooking breakdown. Your top selling services and products, again, it might give you some idea about what they're selling and what they're not selling. And then also the client card accuracy report. Because you guys, if we're not collecting proper client information, we don't have a proper avenue to get ratings and reviews or contact them about feedback, email them about coming in sooner than maybe they would have scheduled, and so on. Okay, so again, you guys, this is just a sample of some of the reports that we would recommend, but there are all kinds of other ones that you may choose to use as well. Okay, and recognize and reward. So public acknowledgement, you guys, if they do something great, tell everybody in the salon, right? Whether it's weekly, monthly, yearly rewards. Remember, you're in control of this, and this is something that you can do for your staff. Team bonding, enjoyment activities, and or guest speakers. So again, a lot of times we get, some quite high profile people in to do our hair cutting classes and things like that. But, maybe let's bring somebody in to talk about customer service and how to better hug your customers, quote unquote. Okay. Create a celebration for reaching a goal. Again, setting goals is really important, but also celebrating them when we reach them is also very important. Okay. Offer benefit packages. Now, of course, you guys, this has to be within your capabilities, right? So we get that there is a scale of what you might be able to do for your staff, but it could be as little as a Starbucks gift card, right? Maybe a gym membership for a month, shopping vouchers or gift certificates, paid time off for to reward their loyalty, or maybe potentially offering them a training course because they've been there for so long and are meeting all of their goals. And then again, bonuses and promotions as well. Again, obviously within your capabilities, but when we have good staff, we need to reward them because we want to keep them. All right. Policies and procedures. So as much as these can be blah and nobody likes to talk about them, they are very important. And this is how, one of the ways that we help our staff understand what is expected from them. So have procedures in place to ensure staff know what's expected of them. It's even a good idea, you guys, to create quick reference guides for your team to follow. Your user guide is available within Shortcuts. If you go to your tools menu and click on help, it will load the user guide. You could easily create some quick reference guides for using the point of sale from there. You could create new employee induction that has, some screenshots of Shortcuts as well as some other things that you might incorporate for the salon or the barbershop. An inventory control handbook, so they're very clear about how that's managed and handled. A marketing guide, this might just be for you, but you may have a manager as well that helps with your marketing. A manager's handbook and a company handbook. Okay, having these things in place helps you to, again, ensure that the staff understands what's expected of them. Okay, and then Shortcuts has a checklist to get you started if you'd like, that kind of gives us daily tasks. So you guys, what did we learn today? We talked about building positive, strong working relationships with your team. We talked about training strategies, so not just training them on new skills in the industry, but also customer service skills and business skills as well. Setting achievable targets. how to track and maximize team achievements, and implement policies and procedures. So your staff has a clear understanding of what is expected of them. All right, you guys, we'll open it up to Q&A if you guys have any questions. Again, up at the top, you can go ahead and just use your Q&A section to ask any questions. The question is, do you have examples of handbooks for company management and employees? We don't have any examples of those, but Kim, it's likely something that you could easily find some samples of online. That's the great thing about Google these days. You can find almost anything you need, and you'd probably be able to look up, something like simple employee handbook to get an idea of how to get it started. And then of course you'd be able to incorporate your little tips and bits for your salon as well. Okay, while everyone else is typing out their questions, I'll just go through, and I wanted to talk about, you guys, that our website has changed. So for those of you that use the Learning Center heavily, I just wanted to point out again, it's changed a bit. So when you go to shortcuts.net, up at the top on the right, there's actually a drop down for support. And then when you click in support, you'll see the Learning Center option. Okay, so shortcuts.net, you go to support, and then you go to Learning Center. And then you guys, Shortcuts Fusion will have all of your stuff about online booking and ratings and reviews and set and forget all under there. You have Shortcuts Live. So for any of you that may be using our Shortcuts Live product, you have all the videos for that. And then for any of you that are potentially enterprise customers, you have any of your enterprise videos there. Hey, there's a question here. Are the reports you posted the same in our tools section? Yes. So any of those reports that I put up, those will all be available within your shortcut system. So if you go to tools and reports, they're all going to be within the different menus of your reports. Okay. So that's the Learning Center, you guys. And then for webinars, that's changed a little bit as well. So I wanted to make sure you guys know how to get to the webinars also. So again, shortcuts.net, up at the top, there's a resources drop down. And when you click on resources, you'll see the webinars section. And then again, you'll see how you can go to register for new webinars and also watch past webinars. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Is there a webinar for training new hires? We have not done one so far, but that's a really great idea, something that we could think about. There are quite a few videos, though, in the Learning Center that if you went to, depending on if you're walk-in or appointment book, if you went to the appointment book section or the walk-in section and pulled a few simple videos out of there, the client management section, the point of sale section, you probably get most of kind of the general shortcut stuff for that. And then obviously there's some other induction things that you may need to do as well. But definitely something that we can think about doing in the future, John. Thank you. All right, so as always, you guys, if you have any questions after the webinar, always feel free to email education@shortcuts.net. That goes to the entire education team, and the first one of us that sees it can certainly answer. You can always go to our Facebook page and post comments and questions as well, so facebook.com/shortcutsusa. Our website, again, shortcuts.net. And you guys take a moment to go to our website and check out the new website. It's pretty cool. You can also let us know if you have any questions about the Learning Center. Looks like I might have one more question here. Okay, perfect. All right, so you guys, thanks everybody for joining today. Again, I hope you guys were able to figure out the new platform Zoom, and I hope everybody was able to get on and everybody enjoyed the webinar. If you do have questions, please feel free to email through to the education team. So again, here's that email address, education@shortcuts.net. And I hope you guys brought away some items today. I know so many of you are doing a lot of these things already, but hopefully you picked up on a few tips and tricks that you can use that maybe you knew you should have been doing but just aren't right now, or you just hadn't thought about it and you're going to go implement. So we hope you got some really great things out of today's webinar. And we hope you join us next time. Again, just go to shortcuts.net, the resources section, and go to webinars, and you'll be able to see, well, this one recorded and up, hopefully in the next week or so, and then also any of our future ones that you can sign up for and join us for those. Thank you guys so much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of your day.